The dust still fell like snow across the settlement. Dr. Amara Singh pulled her environmental suit tighter as she stepped over what used to be a playground. The swings hung motionless, their chains melted halfway down. 3 weeks had passed since the Viren collective ships appeared in the sky above New Adelaide Colony. 3 weeks since 2.3 million human voices went silent forever. Amara worked for the Galactic Council as a neutral observer. Her job was to document conflicts and report findings. She had seen war before, but never genocide. Never anything like this. The buildings were not just destroyed, they were transformed into glass sculptures by the heat of orbital bombardment. Bodies lay everywhere, frozen in their final moments. A mother shielding her child. An old man clutching a photograph. A dog still wearing its collar. Her scanner beeped. Life signs, but weak. She ran toward a collapsed shelter, digging through rubble with her bare hands. Inside, she found not survivors but a data recorder, still functioning on backup power. Its green light blinked steadily in the darkness. Amara pulled it free and connected it to her tablet. The first file opened with a timestamp, 3 weeks and 2 days ago. A woman's face appeared on screen, young, maybe 30 years old. Behind her, children were crying. Explosions rumbled in the distance. This is Hannah Brooks, civilian coordinator for New Adelaide. The Viren ships arrived 4 hours ago without warning. They're firing on everything. Schools, hospitals, residential zones. We tried to contact them. We tried to surrender. They won't respond. They're just killing us. The image shook as another blast hit nearby. Hannah turned to comfort a small girl clinging to her leg. We're evacuating to the underground shelters. If anyone finds this, please know we were peaceful. We never threatened anyone. We just wanted to build a home here. Tell Earth what happened. Tell them we. The recording cut to static, then jumped to a new timestamp. This one showed the shelter interior. Dozens of people huddled together. A man was speaking, trying to keep everyone calm. Help is coming. Earth knows we're here. They'll send ships. But no ships came. The next recording showed the same shelter 12 hours later. The lights were failing. People were praying in different languages. A teenager was writing messages on a datapad to parents he would never see again. The final recording made Amara's hands shake. The Viren commander himself appeared on every screen in the shelter. His face was insectoid, emotionless. His translator spoke in perfect human English. Attention Human Settlement, New Adelaide. You are classified as a potential threat to galactic stability. The Viren Collective has initiated containment protocol. There will be no survivors. There will be no negotiation. Your species expanded too quickly, built colonies too fast, developed weapons too advanced. We are correcting this problem. Goodbye. The recording ended with screaming, the children screaming, then nothing. Amara sat in the ruins for a long time. Her tablet showed the truth she had been collecting for 2 months. New Adelaide was not the first. The Viren had systematically destroyed 7 human colonies. Small ones, isolated ones, places where humans had just begun to plant roots among the stars. Places far from Earth's protection. The total death count reached 18 million souls. She had reported everything to the Galactic Council, presented evidence, testimonies, satellite footage of the attacks. The Council had debated for weeks. The Viren were a powerful species, old and established. Humans were newcomers, barely 200 years into space travel. The Council voted to remain neutral. They called it an internal matter. They said both sides should seek diplomatic solutions. Amara wanted to scream at them. What diplomacy works against orbital bombardment? What negotiation brings back murdered children? She uploaded her final report that night. Every image, every recording, every piece of evidence. She sent it directly to Earth's government through encrypted channels. Then she sent a message to the Galactic Council, formal and cold. I resign my position effective immediately. I will not serve a council that watches genocide and calls it neutrality. History will remember this failure. For 2 weeks nothing happened. Earth went silent. No protests, no diplomatic missions, no angry transmissions. The galaxy assumed humans were broken, accepting their losses in quiet grief. The Viren celebrated their efficiency. Other aggressive species took note. Perhaps these young humans could be pushed around after all. Amara stayed on the ruins of New Adelaide building a memorial. She carved names into black stone, working day and night. 18 million names. She would finish this work or die trying. On the 15th day, her communications console lit up. A message from deep space, bouncing off relay stations, heading toward Viren territory. She recognized the encryption signature. Earth Fleet Command. The message was simple, only 6 words long, but they carried the weight of a sleeping giant finally opening its eyes. "We received your report. We're coming." Amara looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the darkness, humanity was moving. She did not know what Earth had planned. She did not know if humans even had the strength to challenge the Viren. But she knew one thing with absolute certainty. The Viren had made a terrible mistake. They had killed human children and thought there would be no response. They had committed genocide and expected silence. They had awakened something they did not understand. Amara returned to her work, carving names into stone. Above her, the stars seemed to hold their breath. Across the galaxy, the Viren collective prepared for celebrations. And in the Sol system, around the third planet from a yellow sun, warships were launching into the void. The monster was awake, and it was coming for them all. Admiral Quiven accepted the medal with pride. The ceremony hall on the Viren homeworld sparkled with light from 1,000 honored guests. His 3 wives stood in the front row, mandibles clicking in approval. The High Council itself had come to celebrate his success. "For the efficient elimination of potential threats to our civilization," the Chancellor announced, pinning the star-shaped decoration to Quiven's chest plate. 7 enemy colonies neutralized, 0 Viren casualties, a perfect military operation. The crowd erupted in cheers. Quiven bowed, his antenna tilted in the traditional gesture of humility, but inside he felt only satisfaction. The humans had been growing too quickly, spreading to too many worlds. Now they were contained, broken. Their expansion halted before it could threaten Viren interests. After the ceremony, Quiven met with the intelligence director in a private chamber. "What is Earth's response?" Quiven asked. The director's antenna twitched. "Nothing. Complete silence. Their diplomatic channels are closed. Their ambassador to the council has not appeared in 2 weeks. "They're grieving," Quiven said. "As expected. Humans are emotional creatures. They will eventually accept their place in the galactic order. There is one concern." The director pulled up a holographic display. "Our monitoring stations near their home system have gone dark, all 15 of them. No signals for 9 days. Quiven waved a claw dismissively. "Technical failures. The humans lack the capability to threaten our surveillance network. They barely have a fleet worth mentioning. Our intelligence reports show maybe 50 warships total, primitive designs from their early expansion period." The director nodded, but his antenna remained low. "I will continue monitoring the situation." "Do that," Quiven said, "but do not worry, the human problem is solved." Across the galaxy, on Earth, the human problem was just beginning its solution. The United Nations Security Council met in a bunker 3 kilometers below Geneva. No cameras recorded the session. No diplomats leaked information. The room contained only 15 people, the most powerful humans alive. Fleet Admiral Rebecca Stone stood at the head of the table. She was 60 years old, gray-haired, calm. She had commanded Earth's defensive fleets for 20 years. She had fought in the resource wars. She had negotiated peace treaties with 3 alien species. She had never, in her entire career, felt hatred like this. 18 million dead, she said quietly. Confirmed casualties across all 7 colonies. No survivors found. The VRIN used thermal weapons designed for maximum civilian casualties. The Secretary General, an older man from Brazil, spoke next. The Galactic Council has refused to intervene. They consider this an internal dispute. We are on our own. Then we respond alone, said the Russian premier. Show them what happens when you murder humans. Agreed, said the Chinese president. But we must be smart, overwhelming force, complete victory, no half measures. Admiral Stone activated the holographic display. The room filled with images of warships, thousands of them, hanging in space around Earth's moon, around Mars, hidden in the asteroid belt, stationed near Jupiter's moons. The French president gasped. How many ships do we have? 400 dreadnoughts, Stone said, each one carrying enough firepower to level a continent, plus support vessels, carriers, destroyers, and stealth ships. Total combat fleet, 1,200 vessels. Impossible, whispered the Indian Prime Minister. The public believes we have only 50 ships. The public knows what we wanted them to know, Stone replied. After the resource wars, we decided never to be vulnerable again. We built fleets in secret. We developed weapons in classified labs. We prepared for the day someone would threaten our existence. She changed the display, showing weapon systems. Quantum disruption torpedoes that phase through normal shields. AI-controlled drone swarms, 10,000 units per carrier. Kinetic kill vehicles that strike at .9 light speed. Electronic warfare systems that can blind entire fleets. The room fell silent. They were looking at humanity's true strength, hidden for decades, waiting for the moment it was needed. The VRIN believe we are weak, Stone continued. They believe we will grieve and accept our losses. They are wrong. I propose we show them the difference between civilization and survival instinct. What are you suggesting? Asked the Secretary General. Total war. We eliminate their military capacity completely. Every shipyard, every weapons platform, every fleet. We do not stop until they are incapable of threatening another species ever again. That could mean millions of VRIN deaths, the Japanese Prime Minister said carefully. Stone's expression hardened. They murdered 18 million humans. They glassed entire colonies. They killed children in their schools. I am not proposing genocide. I am proposing the complete removal of their ability to commit genocide. There is a difference. And if they surrender, asked the German Chancellor. Then we accept surrender. We are not monsters, but we will be thorough. The galaxy needs to learn a lesson today. Anyone who commits genocide against humanity will face consequences beyond their imagination. The vote was unanimous. 15 hands raised. 15 nations united in purpose. Within hours, the orders went out. Shipyards across the Sol system hummed to life. Soldiers received mobilization notices. Weapons came online. The hidden fleets began moving into formation. On Mars, Dr. Sarah Ackafer watched her laboratory staff arming the quantum torpedoes. She had designed them as a defensive weapon. Now they would be used for retribution. She thought about her sister, who had lived on New Adelaide Colony. Her sister, who was now a name on Amara Singh's memorial stone. They wanted to see what humans do when threatened, Sarah said to her assistant. Let's show them what we do when we have nothing left to lose. The first fleet departed 3 days later. 50 dreadnoughts headed for VRIN space at maximum speed. They carried no diplomats. They flew no white flags. Their message was simple and clear. Humanity was coming, and mercy was negotiable. Station Commander Trivek was reviewing supply manifests when the alarms began screaming. Outpost Tarvis 9 had guarded the VRIN border for 30 years without incident. Pirates occasionally tested their defenses. Smugglers sometimes tried to slip through, but nothing prepared Trivek for what his sensors were showing. 50 contacts, massive ones, emerging from hyperspace in perfect formation. "Identify those ships," Trivac ordered, his voice steady despite the fear crawling up his spine. "Unknown design," his sensor operator reported. "Energy signatures match human technology, but the size is impossible. Our intelligence said humans have nothing larger than frigate-class vessels. Send a warning transmission. Tell them they are entering VRIN territory without authorization." The transmission went out. For 30 seconds, silence. Then a response came through, audio only, speaking in VRIN language. "This is Captain Davis Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet. We are not entering your territory. We are taking it. You have 30 seconds to evacuate your station or you will be destroyed with it." Trivac's mandibles clicked in anger. How dare they threaten a VRIN military installation? "Power weapons, prepare to fire." The tactical officer hesitated. "Commander, their energy readings are enormous. I recommend we—" "I said power weapons." The station's main cannons charged. Energy weapons that could slice through asteroid fields locked onto the lead human ship. Trivac prepared to show these primitive creatures the power of VRIN military technology. The human response was instant. Trivac never saw the kinetic projectile that hit his station. It traveled at 9/10 the speed of light, a solid tungsten rod the size of a shuttle. When it struck, the impact released energy equivalent to a nuclear explosion. The station's shields flickered and died. The hull crumpled like paper. But the humans did not destroy the station completely. The projectile hit the weapons array, turning it into molten metal. Secondary explosions ripped through the military sections. But the crew quarters, the medical bay, the civilian areas remained intact. Trivac found himself floating in zero gravity, his station crippled but not destroyed. Through the viewport, he watched the human fleet approach. Not attacking, just surrounding them, weapons ready but not firing. Another transmission came through. "VRIN survivors, this is Captain Chen. Your weapons are destroyed. Your station is disabled. You are alive because we chose to let you live. Evacuate to your escape pods. We will not fire on you." Trivac could not believe what he was hearing. "This is a trick. They want us exposed." His second officer, younger, less proud, spoke carefully. "Commander, we have 300 crew members still alive. If we stay, they could finish us. If we evacuate, maybe we survive." Through the viewport, Trivac watched a strange sight. Human ships were launching smaller craft, medical vessels marked with red crosses. They were moving toward the damaged sections of the station. "They're sending rescue ships," his communications officer said, voice filled with confusion. The next transmission came from a human medical officer. "VRIN station, we are detecting life signs trapped in your lower decks. We are sending rescue teams to extract them. Do not interfere or we will consider it a hostile act." Trivac made a decision he would regret for the rest of his life. "All crew, evacuate to escape pods. Abandon station." As the VRIN crew fled their dying station, human rescue teams entered the wreckage. They pulled out 3 trapped engineers. They stabilized a wounded medical officer. They even saved the station's doctor, who had been sealed in an emergency compartment. The escape pods floated in space, surrounded by human warships. Trivac expected to die, expected the humans to fire to complete their revenge. Instead, a transport ship approached. Its bay doors opened. "VRIN survivors," Chen's voice came through again. "You will be taken aboard our medical ship. You will be treated for injuries. You will be given food and water. And then you will be given a small transport vessel with enough fuel to reach your nearest colony. You will tell your people exactly what happened here. You will tell them what humans do when we are forced to fight." Inside the human medical ship, Trivac received treatment from a human doctor. The doctor was professional, efficient, even kind. She set his broken arm. She gave him pain medication. She asked if he needed anything else. "Why?" Trivac asked. "We killed millions of your people. Why show us mercy?" The doctor's eyes were hard. Because we are not you, we did not choose this war. We did not attack civilian colonies. We did not murder children. You did. We are here to stop you from ever doing it again, but we are not monsters. We are humans, and humans remember who we are even in war. 3 days later, Trivek and his surviving crew floated in a small transport vessel, watching the human fleet disappear into hyperspace. They had been given supplies, medical equipment, even repair kits for their ship. The humans had taken nothing, killed only those who fired first, and left a message. On every screen in the transport, a recording played. Captain Chen's face appeared, calm and cold. To the Viren Collective, you murdered 18 million humans. You destroyed 7 colonies. You killed families, children, innocent people who never threatened you. We are not here for revenge. We are here for justice. Surrender your military forces immediately. Face trial for genocide, or we will dismantle your civilization piece by piece. You have seen what we can do. This was one battle. We have 400 ships. We have weapons you cannot imagine. We have patience you cannot outlast. And we have something you will never understand. We have mercy. But mercy requires surrender. You have 72 hours to respond. The message ended. Trivek sat in silence, his entire worldview shattered. The humans were not the weak species he had been told about. They were not primitive creatures scrambling among the stars. They were something far more dangerous. They were predators who had chosen to be peaceful, and the Viren had made them remember how to hunt. The Viren High Council chamber erupted in chaos. 23 members argued simultaneously, their antennae waving in agitation. Holographic displays showed the wreckage of Outpost Tarvis 9, showed the testimony of survivors, showed the impossible human fleet. Chancellor Vrick slammed his primary claw on the table. Silence. We must respond with unity, not panic. Admiral Quaven stood, his metals clinking. I propose we send the 3rd Battle Group, 200 ships, show these humans what real military power looks like. They won one minor skirmish. We will crush them completely. The intelligence director, Kelvin, raised a cautious claw. Perhaps we should consider their surrender terms. They are offering to negotiate if we... Negotiate, Quaven's voice rose sharply. We are the Viren Collective. We have ruled this sector for 3,000 years. We do not bow to species that barely learn to leave their home system. They destroyed our border outpost in 34 minutes, Kelvin said quietly. 0 human casualties. Their weapons technology exceeds our projections by several magnitudes. Because we were unprepared, Quaven insisted. Send the 3rd Battle Group. I will personally command the fleet. Give me 60 days and I will return with human prisoners. The vote was close, but Quaven's faction won. The 3rd Battle Group received deployment orders within the hour. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. Species from 40 different worlds gathered in the Great Chamber. Dr. Amara Singh stood at the witness podium, no longer representing the Council but appearing as an independent expert. The Council Arbiter, a floating jellyfish-like creature named Vel, spoke in bubbling tones translated by computer. Dr. Singh, you have witnessed both the Viren attacks and the human response. What is your assessment? Amara chose her words carefully. The Viren committed genocide, 18 million civilian deaths. The Galactic Council did nothing. Now humans are responding with military force, proportional controlled force. They are destroying military targets only. They are offering surrender terms. They are even treating prisoners with dignity. But they are still engaging in warfare, protested the Tarlixian ambassador, a bird-like creature. They should use diplomatic channels. Amara's voice turned sharp. They tried diplomacy. We all voted to ignore their pleas for justice. You want to know what I think? I think humans are showing remarkable restraint. If the Viren had killed 18 million Tarlixians, your species would have already glassed their homeworld. The chamber fell silent. The Kelthran ambassador, an elderly being named Rothai, stood slowly. I have studied human history. Their planet's records are available in the Galactic database. They have fought wars before, terrible wars against their own kind, but they also have something unique. They have the ability to stop, to show mercy even to enemies who showed them none. The Virin should surrender before humans decide mercy is no longer an option. The Council voted to maintain neutrality. No intervention, no peacekeeping. Let the two species settle it themselves. Amara left the chamber in disgust. In the Krivex Nebula, two fleets prepared for battle. Admiral Quaven positioned his 200 ships in a defensive formation among the asteroid fields. He knew the terrain. He had the numbers advantage. He had Virin pride. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace precisely where Quaven expected. 150 ships, massive dreadnoughts that made his largest vessels look small. But Quaven smiled. Numbers still favored the Virin. All ships open fire, he commanded. The nebula lit up with weapons fire. Virin energy beams lanced out, striking human shields. Missiles streaked through space. For the first 10 minutes, the battle seemed even. The humans took damage. Several ships reported shield failures. Then everything changed. The human ships launched new weapons, torpedoes that flickered in and out of normal space. They phased through Virin shields like they did not exist. When they struck hulls, they created quantum disruptions that tore ships apart from the inside. Quaven watched in horror as 20 of his vessels simply came apart, their molecular bonds breaking down. Shields are useless, his tactical officer screamed. The torpedoes ignore normal physics. Launch all fighters, Quaven ordered. Overwhelm them with numbers. 5,000 Virin fighter craft poured from the carriers. They swarmed toward the human fleet like angry insects. Quaven felt a moment of hope. Surely the humans could not target that many small craft. The human carriers opened their bays. What emerged were not piloted fighters. They were drones. Autonomous AI-controlled killing machines. 10,000 of them per carrier. They moved in perfect coordination, reacting faster than any biological pilot could manage. The fighter battle lasted 18 minutes. When it ended, 4,200 Virin fighters were destroyed. The human drones lost 300 units. Quaven's fleet was dying. His ships reported critical damage across all sections. The humans had not just better weapons. They had better tactics, better coordination, better everything. Send surrender signal, Quaven's second officer begged. Never, Quaven smashed his claw on the console. We are Virin. We do not surrender to inferior species. Admiral Rebecca Stone watched the battle from her flagship, the Defiant. She felt no joy in the slaughter, only cold determination. Enemy fleet commander is refusing surrender, her communications officer reported. Target his flagship, Stone ordered. Disable only. Quantum torpedo minimum yield, I want him alive. The torpedo struck Quaven's command ship, phasing through the shields and detonating inside the engine room. The ship went dark, powerless, drifting. Stone opened a channel directly to Quaven's bridge. Admiral Quaven, your fleet is destroyed. 200 ships reduced to 37 operational vessels. You have two choices. Surrender now and your surviving crew lives, or continue fighting and everyone dies. You have 60 seconds. Quaven stared at the human woman on his screen. Her face showed no anger, no hatred, just patience. The patience of someone who knew they had already won. His antenna drooped in defeat. We surrender. Smart choice, Stone said. All Virin vessels, power down weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any ship that fires will be destroyed immediately. The Battle of Krivex Nebula ended. Human casualties. 3 ships damaged, 0 destroyed, 47 personnel injured. Virin casualties. 163 ships destroyed, 37 captured, 23,000 dead. The galaxy was watching now. and they were beginning to understand. Humanity was not coming to conquer. They were coming to end the threat completely, and they had the power to do it. Panic spread through the Viren homeworld like fire. News of the Third Battle Group's destruction reached every screen, every communication device. Citizens watched their mighty military shattered in 2 hours, watched Admiral Quaven surrender, watched human ships collecting prisoners with care, treating wounded enemies in their own medical bays. In the capital city of Vrixholm, protests erupted. Millions of Viren filled the streets, demanding their government surrender before more died. The High Council met in emergency session, but no decision came. Chancellor Vrix wanted to fight. The military commanders wanted revenge. The civilian ministers wanted peace. The Viren were divided. Above the planet, space began filling with warships. Every remaining Viren vessel from across their empire converged on the homeworld. 400 ships, their entire reserve fleet, everything they had left. If the humans wanted the Viren homeworld, they would have to take it through an ocean of blood. Military Command Center was buried 3 kilometers below the capital. General Thex coordinated the defense, positioning ships in layers around the planet. Orbital defense platforms powered up. Ground-based weapons came online. Minefields were deployed at jump points. "Let the humans come," Thex said to his staff. "They will break against our defenses." 3 days later, the humans came. The first sign was the jump signatures, hundreds of them blooming across every sensor. The human armada emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. 300 dreadnoughts surrounding the planet in a sphere, each one bristling with weapons, each one carrying enough firepower to level continents. On the surface, Viren citizens looked up at the sky. They could see the human ships with their own eyes, blotting out the stars. Admiral Rebecca Stone stood on the bridge of the Defiant, looking at the Viren homeworld below. 8 billion people lived on that planet. 8 billion souls who did not choose this war. She thought about New Adelaide, about 18 million humans who also did not choose to die. "Open a channel," she ordered. "Broadcast on all frequencies. I want every Viren on that planet to hear this." Her face appeared on every screen across the Viren homeworld. In homes, in government buildings, in military bunkers, everywhere. "People of the Viren Collective, I am Fleet Admiral Rebecca Stone of Earth. Your government murdered 18 million humans, destroyed 7 colonies, killed children in their schools. We offered surrender terms. We offered justice through trials. We offered peace if you would disarm. Your government refused. Now we are here. You have 1 hour. Your government can surrender your military forces, agree to trials for those who ordered the genocide, and your civilization survives. Or you can fight, and we will destroy every military asset you possess. Choose wisely." The transmission ended. In the High Council chamber, chaos reigned. Half the council wanted to surrender immediately. The other half wanted to fight to extinction. Chancellor Vrix made his choice. "Launch all fleets. We will show these humans what happens when you threaten the Viren homeworld." General Thex began the assault. 400 ships moved to engage. Orbital platforms opened fire. The space around the Viren homeworld became a battlefield. The humans did not flinch. Their AI systems tracked every Viren ship, every missile, every energy beam. Their point defense systems intercepted 90% of incoming fire. Their drones swarmed Viren fighters. Their quantum torpedoes phased through shields and crippled ships without destroying them completely. The battle raged for 3 hours. Viren ships fought with the desperation of a species facing extinction. They used suicide tactics. They rammed human vessels. They fired every weapon they had. The humans responded with cold efficiency. They targeted weapons systems, not crew quarters. They disabled ships instead of destroying them. They were trying to minimize casualties even while fighting for their lives. Then something unexpected happened. A transmission came from inside the capital city. The civilian government, led by Minister Kava, had seized control of the planetary communications array. Attention all Virin forces. This is Minister Kava. By authority of the Civilian Council, I am ordering all military vessels to stand down. The war is over. We surrender. General Thex screamed orders to ignore the transmission, to continue fighting. But across the fleet, ship commanders hesitated. They could see the battle was lost. They could see human ships waiting, not firing unless fired upon first. One by one, Virin ships began powering down weapons. Admiral Stone watched the battlefield shift, watched some ships surrender while others continued fighting. She made a decision. All human vessels cease fire. Do not engage any ship that has powered down. For those still fighting, disable only. I want prisoners, not corpses. The Virin military split. 60% of ships surrendered. 40%, loyal to the hardline faction, fled to the outer colonies to regroup. Minister Kava requested human assistance to hunt down the rogue elements. The war entered its final phase. Human and Virin civilian forces worked together to locate the holdouts. It took 6 months. When it ended, Admiral Quiven and 47 other commanders sat in a courtroom built specifically for the trials. The proceedings lasted a year. Evidence was presented. Survivors testified. The destruction of New Adelaide of 6 other colonies played on screens for all to see. The Virin people watched their military leaders explain their decisions, justify their actions, defend the indefensible. The verdict was unanimous: guilty of genocide, guilty of war crimes, guilty of crimes against sapient species. The sentence was life imprisonment on a human-monitored facility, not execution, not torture, just permanent removal from society. On the ruins of New Adelaide, Dr. Amara Singh completed her memorial, 18 million names carved in black stone. Admiral Stone attended the dedication ceremony. She placed flowers at the base. Was it worth it? Amara asked quietly. Stone looked at the names, looked at the rebuilt settlement taking shape in the distance. Virin workers labored alongside humans, paying their reparations through honest work instead of blood. Every species in the galaxy learned something today, Stone said. We will not start wars, but if you commit genocide, we will end you. Not through massacre, through justice, through overwhelming force applied with precision, through victory that leaves room for peace afterward. She touched one name on the memorial: Hannah Brooks, civilian coordinator, the woman from the recording. Yes, Stone said, it was worth it. 5 years after the war ended, the galaxy looked different. The Galactic Council chamber filled with representatives from 40 species. Today's session was special. Today, they voted on humanity's official status within galactic society. The debate had raged for months. Some species feared human military power. Others respected it. All recognized they could not ignore it. Ambassador David Okonkwo stood at the speaking platform. He was 52 years old, born in Lagos, raised among the stars. He had spent the last 5 years rebuilding relationships his species had never really established before the war. Honored members, he began. 5 years ago, the Virin Collective committed genocide against human colonies. 18 million civilians died. We asked this council for justice. You voted to do nothing, so we took justice into our own hands. The chamber remained silent. Some delegates looked ashamed, others defiant. We fought a war we did not want, David continued. We destroyed military targets with precision. We offered surrender at every opportunity. When the Virin civilian government chose peace, we accepted immediately. We did not occupy their worlds. We did not enslave their people. We did not commit the same atrocities they inflicted on us. He paused, letting his words sink in. Today you vote on whether humans should join this council as full members. Some of you fear us. I understand why. We possess weapons you cannot match, fleets you cannot defeat, but power without restraint is tyranny. We showed restraint. We showed mercy. We showed that humans can be trusted with strength. The Kelthran ambassador, Old Rotheyes, rose to speak. I have watched humanity carefully these 5 years. They patrol trade routes, protecting smaller species from pirates. They share technology freely. They offer medical aid to species suffering from plagues. They do not demand tribute. They do not force others to worship their culture. They simply help. This council should welcome them. The Tarlixian ambassador stood next, feathers ruffled in agitation. But what happens when humans decide another species is a threat? What happens when their military might is turned against us? David met her gaze steadily. The same thing that happened to the V-Rin: fair warning, opportunity for peace, precision military action if refused, and mercy when surrender comes. We are not conquerors, we are protectors. Of ourselves, yes, but also of any species that faces what we faced. The vote took hours. When it finished, the result was clear: 32 in favor, 8 against. Humans were now full members of the Galactic Council with a special designation, peacekeepers. The role came with responsibilities. Human fleets would patrol disputed territories, respond to genocidal conflicts, intervene when smaller species faced extinction. The galaxy had decided that if humanity possessed such power, it should be directed toward protection rather than conquest. On the V-Rin homeworld, life had changed dramatically. The military was dissolved. Only small defensive forces remained, monitoring stations and patrol ships. But the civilian economy thrived. V-Rin scientists worked alongside humans on research projects. V-Rin engineers helped build new stations across the border regions. A school in Vrixholm taught the war to young V-Rin students. The teacher, an elderly female named Siva, showed recordings of the battles, showed the trials, showed the peace that followed. A student raised her claw. "Teacher, why did we attack the humans?" Siva's antenna drooped. Pride, fear, arrogance. We believed we were superior. We saw human expansion as a threat. Instead of talking, instead of negotiating, we chose violence. We chose genocide. And the humans punished us. The humans stopped us, Siva corrected. They removed our ability to hurt others, but they also helped us rebuild. They could have destroyed our entire species. Instead, they showed us a different path. Another student asked, "Are we slaves now?" "No," Siva said firmly. "We are a species learning to be better. The humans do not rule us. They monitor us. There is a difference. In another 95 years, when the monitoring period ends, we will be fully autonomous again, if we prove we learned our lesson." On Earth, at Fleet Command Headquarters, Admiral Rebecca Stone walked through the Memorial Garden. She was retired now, her uniform replaced with civilian clothes. But she still visited the monuments regularly, still read the names, still remembered. A young officer approached, nervous. "Admiral Stone, I wanted to thank you." "For what?" Rebecca asked. "My parents lived on New Adelaide Colony. They died in the bombardment. I was visiting Earth when it happened. I wanted revenge. I wanted every V-Rin dead. But you showed me a better way. Justice instead of genocide, strength with mercy. That's why I joined the fleet. To protect, not to destroy." Rebecca smiled sadly. "That is the lesson we all needed to learn. Power is easy. Restraint is hard. Any species can destroy. But building peace after destruction, that takes real strength." The officer saluted and left. Rebecca continued her walk, thinking about the galaxy's future. Human ships now patrolled alongside vessels from 20 different species. Mixed crews, shared technology, common goals. 3 small wars had been prevented in the last 2 years simply because human peacekeepers arrived and both sides decided fighting was not worth it. The V-Rin paid their reparations faithfully. Survivors of the colonies received compensation. Families of the dead received support. The process would take decades, but it was happening. Dr. Amara Singh, now teaching at a human university, often spoke about the war to her students, about what she witnessed, about the choices humanity made. The Viren learned that genocide has consequences, she would say. But more importantly, the galaxy learned what humanity truly is, not conquerors, not monsters, but protectors who will fight when necessary and show mercy when possible. That is the balance we all must strike. On the edge of civilized space, a small species called the Renvik faced aggression from their neighbors. They sent a distress call through the galactic network. Within 3 days, a human fleet arrived. No shots were fired. The aggressive species took one look at the dreadnoughts and decided diplomacy was suddenly very appealing. The galaxy had learned its lesson well. You can commit many sins in the cosmos. You can fight wars. You can compete for resources. You can disagree and argue and struggle for dominance. But there is one line you do not cross, one act that will bring humanity's full wrath upon you. You do not commit genocide, because humanity remembers, and humanity never forgets.